Yuki Wakura lives in a world where men are nothing. I mean, they're literally losers. They do cleaning and sewing and everything. But the ladies get to waltz into school late and gain supernatural abilities after eating a Mato peach. Yuki was unfortunate enough to be born hideous, but his big sister taught him everything else before she died. In essence, how to be a good house husband and how to rizz up the ugly women. One day, dude suddenly finds himself in Mato, an alternate dimension accessible via strange gates in Japan. He's supposed to wait for the Demon Defense Force to save his ass, but he gets attacked by a Shuki. Weird name for a demon monster, but it is what it is. Some chick rides a Shuki of her own and easily cuts down the monsters threatening Yuki. She then introduces herself as Commander Kyuka Uzun of the 7th Squadron before enslaving another Shuki and riding away with our boy. Soon enough, Himari Azuma, aka Miss Grumpy, Nei Okawamura, too young to be put in danger, and Shushu Sugura, who's definitely on the neighborhood watch list, appear in a jeep providing backup. Nei uses her location ability to pinpoint where the Shuki are. Himari transforms her arm into a machine gun, which she uses to off a bunch of Shuki. And finally, Shushu pulls some Ant-Man stunt and becomes 8 times her size. Afterwards, all 3 of them transport a young boy. On the other hand, Yuki and the commander come across a little girl in danger, and she saves her as she falls down a cliff. Kyoka then cuts down as many Shuki as she can before setting up a barrier. The commander decides to use her ability on Yuki and makes him lick her finger. Why, you ask? You didn't? I'll tell you anyway. She freaking turns our sweet boy into her enslaved monster. Dude literally transforms into a beast, and she rides him like a damn horse. He's pretty effective though, seeing as he tears through the Shuki like they're one-ply toilet paper. The Shuki combine to make a mighty monster, but Yuki easily tears through them once again. Afterwards, he returns to his normal self, and Kyoka kisses him as a reward for his hard work. Unfortunately, it's a compulsory part of her ability, so she really goes to town on his tongue. She later recruits him, and of course, Yuki agrees, thinking he'll join the force. Sadly, she takes him back to the Demon Defense Dorm and reveals that he'll be the caretaker there. The next day, Yuki almost gets eaten by Shuki, but the barrier protects him. Nei then explains that Mato is as big as Tokyo and is also divided into different sections, with one defense squad stationed in each section. Himari still shoots the Shuki into oblivion anyway and then threatens Yuki's life. As the simp that he is, Yuki prepares dinner, and all the girls love it. This doesn't stop Himari from threatening his life once again. The universe must hate Yuki, because it sends Shushu to take a picture of him right above a naked Himari. She then uses this picture to blackmail him. Worse off, she takes another picture of him holding her panties and adds it to her blackmail folder. Our boy wonders if he can get away with it. That's until he witnesses Kyuka defeat a Shuki with her bare hands. Everyone else heads out for a meeting, leaving him and Shushu alone in the dorm. She forces him to give her shoulder massages and later challenges him to a stripping game. She easily beats him, turns into a giant, and strips off his boxers, just so she can laugh at how tiny his Excalibur is. They get interrupted by a humongous Shuki. Shushu quickly matches its size and kicks the hell out of it. She doesn't have time to relax before she gets slammed by another giant Shuki. She tries to fight it off, but the beast is too strong. In a bid to transform, Yuki goes around sniffing Kyoka's clothes. Nothing works until he licks her boot. Meanwhile, Shushu is already half naked, not on purpose. Our boy uses his half transformation to blow a hole right through the Shuki. He then returns to human form and falls into Shushu's jugs. Unfortunately, he goes out of commission, so Kyoka needs his back for him. After she leaves, Shushu asserts her dominance as his master and reveals a photo of him naked. On the other hand, Aoba Wakara manipulates a Shuki to beat down 3 members of the defense force. She then announces that she can feel Yuki's presence in Mato. Yuki discovers that Kyoka is awfully pretty in civilian clothes. They soon arrive at a cemetery where she tells him about the unicorn Shuki that killed a host of people in her hometown. She expresses her hatred for the beast and tells our boy to be ready for the day she'll battle it. He later convinces her to stop for some parfait and savors her beautiful expression after the first bite. Weirdly, she reminds Yuki of his big sister. Just then, she receives an emergency call and uses Yuki's speed to return to Mato. She then quickly pulls him into her room for his reward. Wink, wink. I know, who still says wink, wink? Anyway, Nei mentions seeing a crater of Shuki, so the team heads out in 3 vehicles, and yes, Yuki counts as one of them. As it snows, Shushu grows ginormous and smashes the lot of them. Himari backs her up with her machine gun, while Yuki and Kyoka wait for the Shuki to merge, so they can eliminate them at once. Unfortunately, Shushu gets struck down. They then realize that it's the unicorn Shuki, mounted by Aoba. She spits venomous flames that wipe out Himari, leaving just her and Kyuka to fight it out. She easily takes on Yuki, parrying all of his attacks and asking about her little brother while she's at it. Aoba captures Yuki with her hair, but realizes that he's her brother. She's then distracted long enough for Kyuka to attack and runs off with an injured arm. Kyuka tries to go after her, but notices that her teammates are in danger, so she switches priorities immediately and they transport Shushu and Himari back to base. As a reward, the commander crushes Yuki's and continues crushing it as they talk about the mission. Yuki then reveals that the humanoid Shuki could be his sister. Meanwhile, Aoba is certain that the Shuki she fought is Yuki. Our boy gets ambushed in the bath by Shushu and gets an eyeful of her. He runs like hell, only to barge into Himari taking off. She chases him down with a chainsaw until Tenka Izumo, aka Cougar Vibes, and Yachiho Azuma of the 6th Squad appear. Yachiho is actually Himari's sister, and she takes every chance she gets to imply that Himari is a weakling. This infuriates her, and Kyoka notices, so she challenges Tenka to a Mato exhibition match between their squads. Tenka agrees, and after she leaves, Himari asks the commander to train her. She gives her blessing, so Himari declares that Yuki will be her slave until the match is over. Everything becomes clear when she takes him to the field and reveals that she has the ability to copy people's skills. She copies that of Kyoka and transforms Yuki into a Shuki. This time, he only has super speed and less power, so he unleashes a myriad of punches until all Shuki get defeated. Himari discovers the reward part of Kyoka's ability the hard way and ends up sitting on our boy's face. On the ride home, she explains how she has always been the Azuma family laughingstock, always having injuries or falling sick before any big day. Now, she wants to beat Yachiho to prove them wrong and plans to become a hero just like Kyoka. Yuki finally agrees to fight with Himari, only to discover that Yachiho has the ability to control time. Later on, they step out for some more training, and Himari instructs him to channel his strength into his legs. He does as he's told, but when he attacks, his punch lacks the strength to defeat the Shuki. They try again, but this time, Kyoka shows up and reminds her about the slave component of her ability. She instantly rides atop Yuki, and his strength and speed increase. Of course, she pays a price afterwards by caressing her for Yuki's amusement. Who really is the slave? They continue training and improving up until the day of the match. Himari and Shushu go for a soak, and Sahara Wakasa, who's the laziest thing in life, joins them. Later on, Himari runs into her sister in the hallway, and Yuki encourages her that they'll definitely win. As the match begins, Ginabizin creates a barrier, and anyone within it will be healed if injured during combat. Yachiho and Himari go first, and our girl wastes no time attacking her sister. Unfortunately, Yachiho rewinds time by 5 seconds, leaving Himari no choice but to change tactics. She and Yuki leap into the air, so Yachiho pulls out a gun in preparation, only for our boy to increase his speed and land a blow on her mouth. She rewinds time again, and then pauses it for 5 seconds. Luckily, Yuki already leapt out of her shooting range. Before she can reach him, time continues, and he begins to run laps around Yachiho. They go back and forth, not knowing that she was stalling for, wait for it, time. Yachiho pulls out her primetime stunt and freezes everything for 10 seconds, enough time to shoot down Yuki and her sister. Just when things seem bleak, our boy struggles back on his feet and brings Himari along. They then attack Yachiho together. She stops time, but not before our boy manipulates the blinding light from his reverse transformation to distract her. Yachiho ends up shooting at thin air, and when time continues, Himari shoots her from beneath. Yuki and Yachiho fall down together, leaving Himari as the winner and sole survivor. Later on, Gina revives our boy and goes on to revive Yachiho too. She then approaches Himari, asking her to return home. Unfortunately, Himari has no intention to do that, and this breaks Yachiho's spirit. Yuki joins Himari as they get some water, and his reward begins with her feeding it to him via a kiss. She then thanks him for his help. Meanwhile, Tenka reviews the fight with Yachiho and trash talks her technique. She really likes Yuki, as a slave though. Back to Himari, she continues biting, licking, and touching our boy, while Shushu peeks from the hallway. Right outside, Sahara stretches in preparation for her match with Shushu. Jinna declares the start of the match, and both girls go at it without abilities. Shushu knocks Sahara down, and Sahara delivers a German suplex. She then announces that she's tired, so Shushu grows in size and punches her. In turn, Sahara uses her Mad Sheep ability to increase her strength for 3 minutes and slaps the hell out of Shushu. She then punches her straight in the stomach, and this sends her falling. Shushu doubles down by growing even bigger and smashing her whole weight on Sahara, knocking her unconscious. Sahara's ability lets her body continue to fight, and she easily whoops the ass of a tired Shushu. Our girl reverts to her normal side, and Sahara is declared the winner. Shushu's leak out as collateral damage, but she covers up and cries her way back to the dorm. Our boy chases after her, encourages her, and then gets a kiss for his troubles. On the flip, Nai senses some humanoid Shuki, only for one of them to attack the barrier with a headbutt strong enough to break it. Tenka flees with Gina and Nei as the others stand and fight. Shushu and Sahara collab to take down a bunch of Shuki, while the Azuma sisters join forces to take the humanoid. Himari then approaches Kyuka, asking to join her in riding Yuki. With 2 masters, our boy combines his 2 forms to produce one hell of a beast. He becomes strong enough to destroy Shuki with a single blast from his mouth. Meanwhile, Tenka joins the battle, refusing to be outshone. The humanoid pushes Yachiho to her limits, making her stop time over and over again. He even blows away her arm. Of course, she goes back 5 seconds and retrieves it. Tenka then shows up to tag Yachiho out. The humanoid gets the shock of his life when he realizes that she already took out his army. He attacks her with a bolt of lightning, but Tenka easily portals away. He continues to throw balls of energy at her, but she dodges and injures him with a freaking compressed wormhole. The humanoid powers up to attack her, but it's pointless. With a simple touch, she portals him into the air and then swallows him into a wormhole, just like that. They round things up soon enough, but their search for the other humanoids turns nothing up. Both squads say their goodbyes. Himari turns down her sister's offer once more, and Tenka teleports her team away. Afterwards, both Kyoka and Himari undress to give Yuki his reward. They end up washing him up in the hot spring. Topless. Later on, Nei sketches the humanoids that she saw. That night, Tenka kinda appears in Yuki's room just to watch him sleep. Yeah, she may be awesome, but she's also a creep. The whole team visits the 6th Squadron dorm the next day, and Tenka and Kyoka excuse themselves for a meeting, leaving Yuki to do his caretaker duties. He later drops by Yachiho's room to deliver her uniform, but she's not around, so he enters and gets freaked out by the numerous pictures of Himari hung up in it. Our boy then tries to cover up Sahara, but somehow gets stuck in between her thighs until she wakes up. Together, they run into Himari as she waits for Yachiho to finish working out. They then convince her to bridge the gap, so she hands her sister a towel afterwards. Meanwhile, Tenka and Kyoka discuss the humanoid situation and how she doesn't feel like the last one they fought is truly dead. She's right. Apparently, Rairen, as the humanoid is called, was saved by Shikoku, his fellow general, just before the wormhole closed. Joryu, my voluptuous queen, then sides with Shikoku's plan to gather all 8 generals before waging war on the humans again. Tenka asks to borrow Yuki, shocker. She even offers to endorse Kyuka for supreme commander, but it isn't enough for her to say yes. Our boy refuses to believe it when he's told and goes home to mull it over. Suddenly, Tenka portals into his room and lays it on him thick. Like, she confesses, kisses, and caresses him, and even gets rid of his shirt. The kind of abuse of power that we all love. Things are just getting steamy when Shushu barges in. Kyoka then sits Tenka and Yuki down and gives Shushu the chance to trash talk the former. Afterwards, she dismisses both of them, and Tenka portals away. The next day, everyone comes out for training, and Kyoka suggests lending her power to her teammates like she did with Himari. Nei goes first and transforms Yuki into the 5th Ninja Turtle. He had no real strength other than enhanced hearing and sight, so much so that he sees through the girl's clothes. He then reverts to his normal form. Thank God, he only gets a peck on the cheek as a reward from Nei. Shushu becomes hyped up, thinking that she'll get the chance to go to town on Yuki. She takes the reins of his chains and transforms him into something ugly. Everyone immediately agrees that it's not worth it, so she tries enlarging herself to improve Yuki's ability. It doesn't work. She just ends up bandaging his arm as a reward. Afterwards, Yuki escorts Nei to school, and she reveals that her parents went missing and that she joined the defense force for a chance to find them. Meanwhile, Tenka and Kyoka share a meal where they discuss a possible meeting of all the commanders. They then return to the dorms, where Tenka wastes no time teasing Yuki. Things begin to escalate when Himari reports multiple gateways opening up in their jurisdiction, so Tenka portals them to the field. There, Kyoka rebukes Yuki from fraternizing with Tenka. Together, they charge towards the Shuki, killing them off one after the other. A new type emerges with multiple heads, but it doesn't stop Yuki and Kyoka from killing it instantly. Meanwhile, Shikoku amuses herself by watching the fight from a distance. Kyoka is busy kicking ass, and Yuki is busy helping out. He does such a good job that she compliments him for the first time in his life. Anyway, as a reward, he carries her like a princess while they kiss. Tenka shows up again and dotes on him. No one likes Tenka, except Tenka. Anyway, our boy breaks into a story about how great his sister was and how she taught him to fight off bullies. Later on, Nei feels someone in danger, so the team springs into action. Himari shoots down the Shuki, chasing the girl, and tries to help her out. Unfortunately, she gets punched in the gut, and the girl turns out to be a humanoid named Coco. She expects us to take her seriously with a name like Coco? Come on. Anyway, Coco summons a bunch of Shuki, and Himari's bullets bounce off the Shuki's skin. She even switches up the firepower, but still gets the hell punched out of her by Coco. Meanwhile, Shushu claps a Shuki, but it pushes her palms apart, revealing another humanoid named Naon Yuno. Naon then knocks her down. Back to Kyuka and Yuki, they come across Aoba again, and this time, she successfully abducts Yuki while Kyuka is busy fighting off other Shuki. Our boy wakes up to Coco licking him all over and smushing her cat in his face. Aoba arrives and immediately tackles her. Naon then explains that she was healing Yuki with her saliva, so Aoba praises Coco. She and Yuki go on to share an emotional moment before she finally hands him some clothes. They head outside together, and she introduces him to the hidden village, home to other humanoids. He makes mention of Demon Defense Force helping out, and the mood immediately changes into one of hatred. Back at the dorm, Himari wraps up Shushu's wounds, and they sulk over Yuki's abduction, while Kyuka holes up in her office. Aoba brags about her brother being handsome. We all know that's a lie, and then leaves to get him some food. He sniffs a strange mushroom, and by the time Aoba returns, he's already knee-deep in Naon's and Coco's. Meanwhile, Kyuka realizes that she can use her body as a Yuki detector since she has to give him his reward. Tenka, Yachiho, and Sahara portal their way to Squadron 7, and both squads move out in search of Yuki. Aoba reveals that there's a connection between her powers and the Mato Peach. Naon then shows up to give a better account of the history, narrating how she got transported into Mato when she was on a modeling gig. She had to eat the Mato Peach, and the powers went haywire. She had passed out and woken up naked before a creepy old lady who revealed that she was at the Onmu Bureau, dedicated to studying Shuki. Naon ended up being used as a lab rat until she escaped with her ability to pass through objects. Yuki is mortified and plans to tell people about the Bureau, but Aoba and Naon think that the Bureau will use their political standing to shut him down. They then introduce 3 more Shuki, Kumadoji, Akura, and Kidomaru, the unicorn, before explaining their plan to bring down the Onmu Bureau with force. Our boy tries to defend the Demon Defense Force, but the girls don't give a crap. Meanwhile, Kyuka and the others come across the hideout but get ambushed by Shuki before they can enter. Yachiho easily stops time and shoots them all down, but Coco and Kuma make a guest appearance. Sahara tackles the beast, while Kyuka, Tenka, and the Azuma sisters make their way into the cave. The sisters face off against Akira, Tenka, and Kyuka, portal their way to Yuki, and Tenka easily steals him from Aoba before making their escape. Kyoka finally gives Yuki his reward by sucking on his fingers, and for some twisted reason, Tenka joins in until they're interrupted by Aoba. Yuki shields the girls before his sister can attack them, and gets her to calm down for a conversation. Right outside, things get serious as Shushu enlarges herself, and Sahara activates Mad Sheep, all while Joryu, my crush, watches from above. The Azuma sisters fight off multiple Shuki, but can't even scratch Akura. Meanwhile, Nan lurks in the shadows. Alba finally explains everything the Onmu Bureau has been up to, so Kyuka promises to destroy it too. This doesn't change Alba's mind or mission though. She wraps Yuki and tucks him aside, and then summons the unicorn Shuki. As the unicorn battles Kyuka, Alba and Tenka get into a battle of their own. Outside, Sahara tries to punch Coco, but her slime ability makes the punch slide off. Shushu then tries to crush Kuma, but doesn't even leave a scratch on him. As for Akura, Yachiho stops time and shoots him in the head, only to continue time and have her clothes ripped apart. She then realizes that Naon had attacked Himari with the opportunity. Joryu reports back to Shikoku about locating the other humanoids, so they plan to make a grand entrance. The fight becomes intense as Kyoka delivers slash after slash against the unicorn, while Tenka manages to evade all of Alba's advances using her portals. The almost brings down the cave, and even eats another Mato Peach to power up. She uses her heightened senses to predict where Tenka will teleport to, and attacks accordingly. Outside, Shushu and Sahara make no headway in defeating Coco or Kuma, until the humanoid threatens to harm innocent lives, that is. This fires them up, and they use Formation S. No, it doesn't stand for stupid. Sahara throws a shrunk-up Shushu straight into Kuma's mouth, and she enlarges herself in his stomach, ripping the beast to shreds. Sahara then takes one of Kuma's metal-like teeth and cuts down Coco like you should your calories. You heard me, you fat f***. Damn! As for Himari, Yachiho rewinds time and warns her about an attack from behind. Unfortunately, it's not enough because Naon keeps slipping away and attacking again and again. That, coupled with attacks from Akura, forces Yachiho to use her ability one too many times. Himari takes over and presents a technique where she transforms her hair into a bunch of guns and fires in all directions. It reveals Naon's position, so Yachiho rewinds time, and they pull off a direct attack, taking both Naon and Akura out. Back to Tenka, Kyuka creates a distraction using the Unihorn and slashes Alba. In a bid to escape, she falls into Tenka's wormhole, but the bitch goes soft at the last minute. Not Alba, though. She fires a last-minute blast, too fast for Tenka to escape. She then falls to the ground, bleeding, and admits that she couldn't kill Alba because it would make Yuki upset. At that moment, Coco comes running with Naon and Kuma, and despite their weakness, Alba refuses to surrender. Just then, Joryu bursts in gloriously, carrying Shikoku in her arms. They turn the Shuki against the humanoids, and the Unihorn beats the shit out of Alba. As he's about to finish her off, a transformed Yuki shows up to save his sister. As the fight intensifies, Joryu flies away with Naon and Coco. Meanwhile, our boy breaks the Unihorn's fingers and then his hand, only for the beast to regenerate everything by transforming into a formidable horned lizard. Yuki catches his horn with his mouth, while Kyoka cuts it off alongside his arm. The Unihorn reverts to his original form, Yuki chains it down, and Kyoka pictures all the people the beast killed before using the rage to dice it into pieces. Shikoku then slips away, having taken an interest in Yuki. Afterwards, Tenka transports the others back to base and returns to talk things out with Alba. Unfortunately, the humanoid has no intention of returning with them, so they head back alone. Later on, our boy heads to Kyoka's room for his reward. Apparently, he just wanted to sleep beside her without clothes. He can't bring himself to sleep, so Kyoka wrestles him until he's out cold and then snuggles up like she didn't do anything. Shikoku feeds Naon and Coco to some Argus-looking beast called a Godmaker. Anyway, everyone back at the dorms has made a full recovery, and they share a meal where Yuki is the star of the party. They then laugh, drink, and have a good time. Afterwards, our boy remembers his sister and how Kyuka promised to become Supreme Commander so she can change things in the Demon Defense Force. He stares at the memento his sister gave him and promises to become a hero. The next day, Tenka ambushes him in bed, but Kyuka interrupts before things get steamy. They later step out together to go kick some Shuki ass while Alba watches from a distance. She then promises to find Coco and Naon.